And we're back for realsies this time. Game number 3 of the day, our last best of 1. So, typical mistakes hung a loss on Meenix in game number 1. They then had to go on and take Dignitas on in game 2. They lost there. Dignitas making it look kind of easy, but Dignitas does that to even professional level teams from time to time, so no surprise there. Meenix now going to be testing their wits against Dignitas in their bid to avoid putting up the goose egg on the day, turn the bagel into a breadstick, and hopefully walk away with at least one notch in the win column. I'm Aaron AC Chambers. We're live here on the American Dota League, and I'm joined for the broadcast by Greg What Is Hip Laird. Welcome in once again, my friend.
It's good to be back. Looking forward to what Meenix has up their sleeve against Team Dignitas here.
Don't know a whole lot about
something good.
Don't know a whole lot about Meenix, but do know a whole lot about Dignitas, a very, very strong team, one of the best in the business, and really knows how to draft to their strengths. Last time around, it really comes down to the draft, and I had a lot of problems with typical mistakes draft, especially in the face of what Dignitas was showing them, and it ended up bearing out about as we had expected. Meenix going to ban out the Lone Druid and the Lifestealer, not giving Dignitas either of the quite strong carries that are popular at the moment. Wisp and Bad Rider banned out by Dignitas. Magnus available for them if they want to go in that direction. So, sure enough, there's our Magnus.
I think in the dark, Dignitas just picked some pretty safe bans. I'm sure they don't know as much about Meenix as they might about other teams. So, just choose to ban out some of the more popular, powerful heroes right now in the metagame.
No surprise to see Rubik counter-picked by Dignitas. And really, most professional teams nowadays just use the Rubik pick or the potential for a Rubik pick as one of those where they can basically just say they're not going to pick Magnus because we can get Rubik, or we already have a Rubik. And Meenix says, nope, that's fine. I am willing to take my chances on a stolen reverse polarity. They also get the Darkseer, so 2 very, very strong supports coming out. And Meenix now needs to make the most of these first 3. They've already gone all in with the Magnus, with the Rubik on the board. Gyrocopter would be an excellent pickup if they wanted to put that together. Basically, any AoE-centric kind of a hero would work quite well. Luna could work if they wanted to go that direction, but I'd actually be a little stunned if Gyrocopter wasn't a part of the next 2 at least.
Yeah, and the Rubik pickup, what we were talking about last game, I mean, sometimes Magnus just gets absolutely hosed by Rubik. He doesn't catch him in the RP, and then his entire team gets RP'd while they're trying to take advantage of the Magnus initiation. So we'll see how it works out for Meenix here. But I definitely agree. Their next 2 picks are going to have to be extremely strong follow-ups and picks that really make sense with Magnus and take advantage of the team fight that he brings.
They're going to go ahead and bypass the Gyrocopter, instead filling out their supporting cast, Shadow Demon, Keeper of the Light. Totally understand why they would want to go in that direction. However, Rubik now has a number of excellent skills to pick from at any given point. Illuminate's not hard to steal at all. Chakra Magic, about the only thing you're usually going to use right afterwards. And, of course, Shadow Demon's entire skill set up for grabs for Rubik. Magnus, as mentioned, RP, as good as it is, not the easiest to get off with a Rubik in position, or without having a Rubik in position to steal the spell. Dignitas, a team that is known to build a very mobility-oriented Rubik, and most teams are coming around to that way of thinking. Kuroki was one of the first in the West to really start showing off the potential of that kind of an approach, was building Blink Daggers all the way back on back to his time on Mouse, and really put the hero through its paces. But Meenix already has the beginnings of a very nice laning phase. Don't know, I mean, I'm not a big fan of Keeper of the Light in the offensive tri-lane, and most teams aren't. I mean, he can function there. It really comes down to how powerful Chakra Magic is based on what heroes he's laning against. But more importantly, the hero, or laning with, and more importantly, what heroes he's laning against. And Dignitas go ahead and grab Sneaking, his marquee hero with the Templar Assassin.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. Keeper of the Light and Shadow Demon are some of the more defensive heroes that can go in a tri-lane, and I would also be pretty surprised to see them in an offensive tri-lane. But I think for Dignitas, the Rubik pickup is making a lot of sense, even more after Meenix picks up Shadow Demon and Keeper of the Light. Just the utility that you can get out of even Disruption and Chakra Magic is really, really strong. It should help them sort of cascade into the middle parts of the game, which is what they really like doing, especially if they can pick Templar Assassin up for Snake King.
And yeah, Dignitas so far, just a really nice core 3. Most likely we'll see Universe on the Darkseer. Rubik, I would imagine, will be played by, well, obviously played by Way Too Sexy or Fogged, but the ban's coming out. Dignitas is trying to take away any kind of carry potential, any kind of ultra late game carry potential from Meenix, banning out the Phantom Lancer and the Alchemist. No surprise to see the PL ban, especially with the Keeper of the Light already picked up by Meenix. And on the side of Meenix, not wanting to repeat the last game, they're going to go ahead and take the Juggernaut out, getting rid of the Nyx Assassin too. I like the Juggernaut ban a lot. Would be a nice carry that fits in with the Dignitas, typically aggressive style. The fact that they could push behind it and sneaking. Sneaking is one of those guys, though, that on the TA will oftentimes skip a Blink Dagger. He'll go something like Phase, Drums, Manta. And then, and really, with this composition so far, it depends on what they decide to pick up. They still, I mean, they've got their mid. They still need one hard carry at the very least, and probably an off, or not an offlaner. The one hard carry and a hard support. And if they can get any form of initiation, we might see that that build come out of Sneaking. Sneaking does really like to jump on people quite quickly, and Gyro actually banned out by Meenix. Again, that's a little bizarre to me. That's a hero that I think they would have benefited a lot from having in their composition.
Yeah, that's an interesting ban for me as well. I mean, Gyrocopter couples so well with Magnus. You think about all the skills that he has, and every single one of them is just so well complemented by reverse polarity, and they're really gonna have to do well in the mid game team fights, and they're gonna have to figure out a way to deal with this Templar assassin. Right now, they don't really have a good way to take down Refraction, which is a pretty serious issue for mid game team fights. So we'll see if they're able to figure out something, but it's not gonna be the Gyro.
Anti-Mage banned out by Dignitas. And yeah, I want to see what the plan here is. Luna would not be a bad choice in terms of trying to pick up some kind of a carry. I'm trying to think of mid-game heroes they could pick up. I mean, a PA, maybe? PA does fairly well against Templar Assassin just because of Blink Strike and the bonus attack speed she gets melts through. They're going to go ahead and get a Kunkka of their own. So Kunkka, it seems like this always happens every time there's some stuff that happens out in a Chinese tournament. Visage and Kunkka all of a sudden being picked up all over the place.
Kunkka's a fun hero to watch too. I have no problem with him getting picked up by every single team in every game. He's just got a lot of really great abilities to watch, and the boats last game were really effective. We'll see if Meenix is able to bring that into this game, and we'll see what Dignitas picks up in response. They have a lot of options, I think.
Problem with that Kunkka I have is where do you put him? Tri-lane farming a Kunkka, not something you see that typically. There's the Luna pickup from Dignitas. Thought that would work well with them. Magnus is going to crave mid. You can run the Kunkka mid and then run the Magnus off lane, but running the Magnus off lane, I'm just not a fan of it. It's been nerfed anyway with the fact that his skewer range at level 1 is much shorter now. But even aside from that, Mag is a hero who only needs a couple of items, but he needs them desperately. A Mag without a Blink Dagger and Arc Boots is just not a Mag at all. He doesn't even feel like the same hero. He doesn't have the same impact on the game. So, I mean, I don't like any of the options of what Meenix can do here in terms of balancing that Mag and that Kunkka. Even tri-laning the Kunkka just, again, it seems like a bit of a waste. And Dignitas, actually, if they want to, I'll tell you what might happen here. They might draft an Undying Blast and offensively tri-lane and just put a ton of pressure onto Meenix.
That would definitely be an interesting way for them to execute their lineup. I think it would probably work really well. They're just going to have to be careful, not over-initiating. But I think you're definitely right. Kunkka in a tri-lane is really, really awkward. I mean, he's got the setup for Torrent, so at least he knows he's going to be able to land a couple of those, keep it with light, probably be able to throw Illuminate, and that makes a little bit more sense now. I think they're going to... Interesting. They have a couple options, though. I don't know. It's still a little weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's just they're going to have to make sure that whatever their game plan is doesn't come apart at the seams. They're actually going to pick an Enigma, so they go the complete opposite direction. That basically guarantees that they're going to be defensively tri-laning, which is fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I think it's just looking at Meenix Esports and just going, you know what? The Mag most likely to end up mid, I would imagine. Again, Weaver in a defensive tri-lane is a bit more typical than a Kunkka, but we'll see. I mean, it all comes down to what timing they want to hit. If they are really putting a lot of emphasis on Kunkka's damage being where they want it to be early on, then I can completely understand it. But we'll find out one way or the other. If you're just tuning in, I'm Aaron AC Chambers, joined by Greg. What is Hip Laird for this third and final broadcast on the day here at the ADL? I want to thank each and every one of you who have been joining us from Game 1 and all the new viewers who have just tuned in. Welcome in. Hope to have you back. Hit follow. You're on twitch.tv/American Dota League. Meenix going to be moving out quite quickly, moving as a pack of 4 up towards the dire side jungle. China making his way down here. I guess maybe they are going to offensively tri-lane this. If they do, I'm going to worry a bit because Keeper of the Light in the offensive tri-lane especially against these heroes in particular. I mean, Enigma is not going to be able to join the fight that early. He's going to want his levels. Don't want to bring him out of the jungle earlier than you have to. But Aoi plus Weitu should be able to deal with this fairly well. But at the same time, I respect what Meenix is doing, if that is indeed the choice they're going to make. If you're up against a team that you know is more experienced and just on a different level, why not roll the dice? Why not do something a little bit funky and try to make something happen that way?
Yeah, this is going to... I'll be really interested to see how this turns out and see if it works for them. I guess they do have the advantage of it's going to be a tri-lane versus a dual lane, but we saw them sort of walk up into the lane. It looked like they wanted to get a little aggressive as 5, and then everyone just turned around and left. They decided it wasn't a very good idea.
Down here at bottom, China will be solo farming the Weaver. That's always nice. They're going to get Mag and China farm. That's what's important. And, you know, again, the issue I have here is that when Universe does come out, it's going to be really unexpected. And this is one of those situations where Dignitas might even do what I had mentioned, which is intentionally shove their own lane. If they can manage that to keep these heroes limited in levels, I mean, the damage output is not phenomenal here from Meenix. They can do a lot in one big burst. They can hit a disruption, then they can follow it up with an Illuminate, then a Tidebringer, maybe a Torrent if they're lucky. But after that, it's nothing but right-click. And in the right-click war, Dignitas will most likely be coming out ahead. Early on, though, this Luna is going to have some problems getting up close, and we can already see they have a ward down, so they know what the score is. And Weitu going to go ahead and move his way up to try and help. And immediately, Meenix doing the right thing, taking over this pole camp.
Yeah, it's if they miss this combo in the tri-lane, then there's not really going to be a way for them to get the kill. So we'll see if they're going to be able to utilize it. I mean, Luna is a pretty good target for early aggression. She doesn't have a lot of health. She is pretty quick, though, so that's the one thing that they are going to have to deal with.
So far, everything going as Meenix planned up here. And Universe just continuing to do his thing in the jungle, almost to level 3. And Enigma being an Enigma. So far, tri-lane working out quite well. And I'm surprised Aoi's not actually coming in for a couple of these. Especially with the Shadow Demon being largely absent for a lot of that time. As is, though, Sneaking, being a monster on the Darkseer. Just not a whole lot that can be done about this other than what Weaver's doing, which is just take last hits under his own tower.
Yeah, I think this is a fine move. I mean, he knows he's not really under any sort of aggression from Weaver. Weaver's going to be content just to sit by the tower, get last hits, and make sure that she continues to farm up. And there's not really any significant amounts of damage that can come out of a Weaver that can really damage the Darkseer. Really, the creeps are all he has to be worried about, just proper creep management.
Little harassment disruption on Aoi. Eats his way through, finds his way back to safety, is being denied a significant amount of farm, but now with the pull, he should be able to grab these creeps, pull them straight back. There we go. Actually missed the last hit there. Not common for Aoi. He's going to miss another one, so struggling a little bit. Finally gets one on the board. That's going to make 2, so he doubled his total. But the Illuminate through the woods, absolutely miserable. But again, the Enigma, not under any pressure. And he's already got his soul ring up, so he's going to be a quick 6. And China's really going to be the key factor here. Sneaking is taking a decent amount of damage, and nice decision by China. And wow, first blood up at top. Was watching down here. And it looks like Kunkka with a quick pause, but it's not intentional. So, whoop, now he is going to ask for a pause. Very nice play. Didn't see it happen. Thought for sure that Sneaking was actually going to be our first blood as the Weaver got him quite low. But the offensive tri-lane proven me to be an idiot. It's working out wonderfully.
Yeah, so far they're doing a really nice job zoning out AUI, and I mean the biggest problem here is it's just 3v2. There's only so much that these two heroes can do, and to be honest, I mean Rubik has a lot of really powerful abilities. He can maneuver the enemy to try to make sure that you get a proper engagement in tri-lanes, but Luna at early levels doesn't have that much to offer in terms of this lane, and now we're just seeing AUI duck into the jungle, and there's going to be a rotation from Weitu. They're going to try to get a kill here in this bottom lane.
China locked down. Let's see. They do have detection, 2 sentries on the Enigma. And China going to have to do things right. He's got enough mana for 2 Shikuchis. And the rest of Dignitas in position. Trying to force him back. Here they come. There's the immediate Shikuchi. He's going to head to the north. Going to try to give the old okie doke. And pursued out by Sneaking. Sneaking's got his eye on him. He'll be able to Shikuchi again right now. That's going to be the last one he has available. He will make it back to his tier 2, though. And Universe coming out, has the Eidolons ready to go, and ready to bring down this tower, which was already pretty low just because of Darkseer creep cutting from level 1.
Yep, and this is going to be a really nice little boost for AUI. This is probably what he needs to start to be able to farm a little bit more uninhibited in this lane. We'll see if he can challenge the Kunkka. Right now he knows that Kunkka's probably by himself. He's going to move up and see if he can make something happen, but he's going to have to be careful because there's a small rotation moving over. Coddle and Shadow Demon are moving over from the river.
Poking their nose around here in mid. Haven't talked a whole lot about it. Fuzzy versus Fogged. And Fuzzy's got 19 CS. TA's just at 14, so Fuzzy doing quite a good job coping with Fogged. I'd say all the lanes except for bottom for obvious reasons going pretty decently. They're going to go ahead and move in now on the top tier 1. Let's see if Dignitas wants to respond. And no, looks like they're just willing to let that one go. They are no, never mind. They are going to glyph. And I don't know if they're just buying time or if they actually want to try and defend. Universe is just past level 5 actually. And it looks like they're just buying themselves a little bit of time. They still have a couple roaming around the jungle on the Radiant side.
Once Universe hits 6, I'm sure we're going to see Dignitas try to force a fight here and try to take down a couple of the heroes from this tri-lane and top, who are going to take down this tower pretty much without any contest.
Ruka takes the last hit, and now a potential gank on Fuzzy. Closing in, and Way2's right there. Not level 6 yet. He is going to take the optimum escape path and an immediate TPN as they spot out what's going on. Snake King's right there with Fogged. There's the stun from Enigma. He's going to be telekinesed back and blown up immediately. Mag has his RP if he wants it, but outnumbered and outgunned, opts not to spend it. Makes it back to safety, so they end up getting 1 kill under their belt. Finally, they make their way onto the board, make it 1-1.
He thought about it. He started it up for about a tenth of a millisecond, but I mean, basically he would have been dropping it there just in an effort to save himself, but he realized he really wasn't under too much danger. They had already used a lot of their damage to take down the Shadow Demon, so he just backs up. And I think that's the smart move.
RP on a solo target. Fog the one caught by it. Illuminate will be loose. They may be able to get him. Shockwave is nope, don't even need it. Keeper of the Light grabs the kill there, and Meenix off to a great start so far. Way2 going to spot out Fuzzy, who is moving down to check the rune and says, hey, wait a minute. Somebody grabbed it. Happened to be that invis rune that Way2 is milling around with. But finally, Owie finding himself some farm. And honestly, the TA kind of got bullied around there. The TA and Mag came out about even there. There's a disruption in mid. Sneaking, eating the damage. Doing what damage he can with his own ion shell. Able to surge away just below a quarter health, though. And now Fuzzy's been spotted. Black Hole's available for Universe. Don't think he's going to spend it here. Rubik trying to catch up. He's going to have telekinesis in 2 seconds. And Fuzzy juked him out. He actually just ran underneath the courier. Looks like they know where he is. He does have a TP. Doesn't want to spend it too early. And there's the telekinesis. Now the Black Hole coming out of the jungle. If they do decide to engage, and they will. There's the Kunkka landing the boat. And Enigma's there. Used his soul ring, and not going to waste the Black Hole, it seems. Looks like he's just going to accept his fate, try to run away. But not going to be so fortunate. And don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I wonder how many rares are available if Meenix pulls off the upset.
That was a really nice play. They had a really nice set of maneuvers there. I mean, Dignitas was being a little bit greedy. They were actually using the core to make sure they kept vision of everyone and make sure he didn't juke anywhere too cute. But a really nice rotation and another good boat out of Tio was enough to really save that fight and turn it around. And now they're up. A couple kills.
And Mag needs the Maleficent. Does he have a Blink Dagger? No, he does not. So he's still quite low in gold. But 8 minutes in, 5-2. Dignitas getting beat by Meenix. And I'm not sure where Meenix is from. I want to guess they're a North American squad. Very well, could be wrong.
I think they're Brazilian.
Oh, okay, cool. Much love to the Brazilians then. Way2, going to be eating quite a bit of damage. There's a telekinesis onto Fuzzy. They managed to get the courier, though. Fog chasing the courier down, going to try to retreat. Refraction bailing him out. Side trap slowed down his pursuers, and the torrent's going to be off the mark. But yeah, I did not know that. So if that's the case, I'm sure there's a lot of Brazilians in the chat. And again, we say much love out. There's the immediate sentry and the time lapse and the Black Hole. So they get the kill on China. Very high priority kill. They get there. At 1,400 gold on the board. That kill, plus the fact that they were able to grab the couriers, actually makes up a lot of ground for them. And looking at the gold graph, yeah, that swings the goal back in favor of Dignitas. The experience, though, is still in favor of Meenix.
Yeah, things are going pretty well for Meenix, though. I mean, if they can keep trading kill for kill, they might be in an okay place. They really need to start dealing with AUI though. He did have a really rough start, but a person like AUI can farm so incredibly fast. He can get from nothing to something extremely significant really fast, and you see him even using stun to make sure he gets last hits with that little pull, and he's just going to continue farming as hard as he can and as fast as he can. He's already built up a pretty significant bank considering how rough of an early game he's had.
And Kunkka going to run headlong onto him. That'll force him off farm at least for a little while. Speaking of farm, take a look at the net worth. Kunkka's right on top. Darkseer and Enigma following up. Luna and Sneaking. Owie and Sneaking both are struggling here in the early game as we approach 10 minutes in. And yeah, I mean, it's Dignitas' lineup. It's a lineup that's predicated on the Luna and the TA in particular. I mean, it's true for any damage dealer, but even more so for these two than most. Very item dependent. The TA in particular is a snowball hero. She is not a play from behind or play on equal footing hero. She just isn't. It isn't how she works. And Luna, to really feel effective, needs items like Accolade, drums, needs a BKB pretty badly, needs a Yasha to help her kite these fights out. She's not a hero who wants to be in the middle of the fight. She wants to be on the periphery of the fight. And with such a poor start, Owie's just not going to feel all that threatening, especially to a Kunkka who's tanked up and now has a Shadow Blade already.
I wonder if Owie's going to pick up a BKB as his first item. It's definitely a possibility. I mean, look at Meenix's roster. All of their damage is magic damage, and if he can get a BKB at a reasonable time, I think he's going to have a good time fighting against them with Eclipse. But we'll have to see if he's able to finish that up, just because of what you were talking about.
Still has a long way to go.
Oh yeah.
Basically, just 400 gold in the bank. Universe will be the holder of the mech. No surprise there. Just about got it done. Only about 350 gold out, give or take. Mag still trying to farm his way to a Blink Dagger. Going to be quite a late dagger. Does have his arc boots up, but a little over halfway to that dagger now. Kunkka, again, Shadow Blade complete. About to have his courier respawn. But both teams just kind of settling out, though Dignitas is beginning to show their face down here in bottom. Way2 trying to bait out China. And going to be hooked up with by Enigma and Darkseer. A lot of push potential on this team that we didn't really talk about. But with the Eidolons and with the Ion Shell, they can really do some decent damage. Pretty tough to push into a well-entrenched Keeper of the Light, however.
Something a little bit interesting. I mean, Way2Sexy, we saw him get punished pretty repeatedly in the top lane, and as a result, he's still not level 6 at almost 12 minutes into the game, and that's a big deal for Dignitas. Him being able to steal Shockwave, Skewer, I mean, anything really. He can pretty much pick up any skill, and it's going to be useful. And in the top lane, though, there's
Clip's going to go off. We got one kill, and wow. I don't know if Kunkka didn't notice that, but the Darkseer was basically walking around him under cover of an Invis forever with Ion Shell on. He was just hanging around, and his health was slowly evaporating, and I guess he was focused on other things because when Owie engaged there, he was already below half health. So 2 very high priority kills. Fuzzy now spotted out, but should be able to make it away back to safety. Mechanism is complete now on Universe. Back to Fogged, who is actually, and that's something else that is worth mentioning. It's been Fogged on the TA, not Sneaking. And this is definitely one of Sneaking's primary heroes. So don't know why they would decide that. Maybe just to a little. I mean, let's be honest. A lot of these pro teams in these games are going to look to practice different things against competition like this. And here comes the boat. Fog going to be caught out and eat the boat right in the mouth. Black Hole is available if he wants to spend it. Looks like he's thinking about it. Throws out the Malefice on the mag. And nice kill. Kunkka actually attacked a creep and managed to kill Rubik on the high ground via nothing but Tidebringer. In the meantime, Owie is continuing to farm up. He's going to be able to finish his drum basically right now and put a little pressure on the tower in the meantime. Don't think he'll be able to do all that much. Glyph up keeps the tower in mid in good shape, and Owie decides to go ahead and pull back entirely. China, in the meantime, putting some pressure on at the bottom tier 1. TP will be there from Way2, so able to shove that back out. All things stay stable, 7-5. Meenix maintains the kill lead.
And if you watched Fogg's health bar during that fight, it went up and down repeatedly as he gets disrupted right in the jungle. We'll see if Sona's able to make it out of here. Looks like he's going to be just fine. But he used the stick and Universe healed him. Then he was finally able to pop the Refraction. And that was able to keep him safe through it. A humongous burst of damage. Really, really impressive that he was able to stay alive there. And pretty important. As they're smoked up, they're wrapping around. Try to get a kill on mid.
And Shadow Demon spotted out. Super dead. Sona never had a chance. They're going to look to push off of this, but Keeper and, I mean, just Illuminate and Shockwave alone is such an immense amount of magic damage they have to cope with. And, I mean, really, when you look at their whole lineup, the way they're built makes a ton of sense. You've got Shockwave, you're going to have Illuminate, you're going to have Shikuchi magic damage, even Shadow Poison contributes to that, depending on how many points the Shadow Demon has put into it. He's actually been maxing it. So, yeah, Shadow Poison is maxed out above Disruption and Soul Catcher. So no doubt about it, they've got a lot of magic damage, and then that's well balanced by the AoE physical damage coming out of the Kunkka. And that's been a big part of their success. The problem they're going to have, though, is Luna has already closed that gap. Aui's been left alone for too long. He has a casual bracer. He may decide to build drums, or he might, as you suggested, go straight up for another item. Either way, I mean, the last hits just don't matter as much right now. He's only 1,000 behind the Kunkka after having basically no farm for the first six straight minutes.
He's already up to 65 last hits after having pretty much none at 6 minutes. So they're going to smoke up and try to get another kill here. If they can keep picking off heroes and start to stabilize this kill disadvantage they had, Dignitas is going to be in a really good position just because of what you said with AUI farming so well, as he has purchased something. It's flying over. He is finishing up his drum.
7-6. Dignitas wants to tie the scoreboard back up. China is down at bottom. They have a target, kinda, in the Keeper of the Light, just waiting on someone to show up here in mid to respond to TA. And no response going to come, so they're just going to go ahead and take the tower. They have a glyph available, not going to spend it. Instead, just going to TP back. Darkseer is in the woods, keeping an eye on things. Drops down the sentry, and poorly placed there from sneaking, as it is spotted out and counter-warded, thanks to the vision of the tower. And they may try to fight. Aoi moving back up. Magnus finally finds his Blink Dagger. Very important item for him. The dynamic of how this matchup's going to feel is going to change completely now. What Dignitas is doing right now is not going to be anywhere near as reliable or anywhere near as safe once they spot Magnus with that Blink Dagger. Speaking of, going to move out on Aoi. Aoi pops the Lucent Beam. Shadow Poison off the mark. There's a disruption. He can RP as soon as she's out. Going to skewer her first and the RP. And Aoi going to be cleaned up. Here comes the reaction. Sneaking's there. Surging himself to get there. Fuzzy blinked into the woods. Will be able to TP away. Don't think they're going to be able to catch up with anything. Fogged is actually going to be spotted as he comes up through the river. Shadow Demon might be in trouble. Kunkka's there, though. He is going to meld out of it. There's the Shikuchi damage. They're going to just chase this down. Nice vacuum. Brings them both out into the wall. Here comes the boat, though. Boat going to be popped on refraction charges, unfortunately. And they're just going to turn and focus on these two. Fog is melded and dies to the cleave from the Kunkka. And now Sneaking, about to be next on the list. And very well played. Now they're going to come back out. Black Hole's there on China and Fuzzy. So they may get at least one return kill. They're going to have to retreat after that, though. They end up going 2 for 1. All this time, Aoi is continuing to farm, though. So even though it cost them a bit, and wow, he actually missed on way 2. Don't think it's going to matter, as he should be able to chase. Oh, nice Malefice from Universe. Buying him time, can't get the shockwave off. And watching the little guy waddle away, got to be very frustrating if you're in Fuzzy's shoes.
Way too just made it out by the skin of his teeth there, but AUI probably not too sad that he didn't have to deal with that fight. Just immediately moving back and starting to farm, continuing, and his first item is going to be a big one, I think. If he does choose to take the BKB, he's really just going to have complete control over these fights, because Weaver's really the only source of damage they have that's not magical, and it looks like he's going to be going for a Lincoln Sphere first, so it's going to be a little bit before he's got any sort of damage to contribute.
I suspect that Aoi may go for a Yasha. Could very well be BKB, as you mentioned, but right now I think the big problem he's worried about is going to be the Kunkka. And against a Magnus, BKB is not going to bail him out a whole lot anyway. 18 minutes in, again, either will work. I just have a suspicion, knowing Aoi. Aoi is a guy who likes to build damage items much more than he likes to build defensive items. Yasha and Nemanta strikes me as a very Aoi-esque approach to this. There's going to be a blinding light. Sono will be cleaned up in the meantime. And he just spent something. He is going to get the BKB. So, Aoi going against the grain. He's one of those guys that builds like a Shadow Blade on Gyrocopter every single game, and will delay his BKB like 30 minutes sometimes.
Yeah, I think he's just going to want this to... it'll help sustain him against the damage bursts, and it'll allow him to fight with, obviously, the BKBs active. But even just the Ogre Club part of this is going to be pretty nice for him. But after this, I suspect we'll probably see him go straight into a pretty heavy damage item, as he's pretty well positioned to take control of this game in a little bit, as long as Dignitas can continue repelling Meenix, as they have pretty successfully. I mean, only one tower down for them, despite that pretty awful tri-lane at the beginning. I mean, really, that just went very poorly for them.
Waiting to see what our Kunkka's going to build. He's got a broadsword in his inventory, just kind of naked, hanging out there. Could end up going for a Daedalus, could end up getting himself a Battle Fury as well. There's Fog going to be skewered back, immediately melts. There's the Refraction pop. A lot of that damage avoided, but not for Wei2. Wei2 ate the majority of it. And here comes Universe. Universe doesn't have a Blink Dagger, can't get to the high ground. However, sneaking, chasing down Sono. Fog's going to pursue him out. There's a disruption to buy in some time. Got juked in the woods, and the RP spin on just Fog. Vacuumed back, and Fog refracted through a lot of that. Don't think it matters. Torrent caught him. Illuminate on the mark. There goes the Aegis. And Sneaking and company forced to pull back a bit. Fuzzy, now the target, is going to be able to blink to safety momentarily. Going to have a Malefice up on Universe in 2 seconds. Luna, in the meantime, manages to kill off the Weaver as a fight rages behind us. He's going to get the Keeper of the Light as well, so getting a couple of kills there. They're still unable to catch up with Fuzzy. But either way, 2 for 2, 12 to 10. Meenix maintains their lead.
Invisibility.
Yeah, and AUI was able to clean up the end of that fight extremely nicely. This game's getting a little bit awkward for Meenix. Also, that engagement was really, really weird, because if they can, they want to use the Kunkka Torrent to dispel the refraction charges. It's actually a bunch of little damages, so it takes down the refraction charges, and it lets Magnus actually do damage, because in that fight, he RP'd and then shockwaved, and didn't get any damage out of it, so they didn't really have a way to bring down Fog after that.
Tier 2 tower gonna be claimed by Dignitas. There's a very nice skewer though on Fog. Can they follow it up? Nope, Refraction gonna keep him alive. Not the best communication on the follow-up. In the meantime, Wei2 is sneaking, finding a little bit of farm up at top. 4 of the top 5 farmers on the board now belonging to Dignitas. Kunkka still on top, but not by much. Aoi has closed that distance after a horrendous start, and it's gonna have his BKB very, very soon. Only needs about another 500 gold.
Yep, we'll see how it fares against the RP. That's something he's going to have to be wary of. But he does have the Rubik to sort of bail him out if he gets in a really bad situation with reverse polarity. But still, I mean, like I was saying, there's just not that much damage to bring him down even after he gets RP'd. So we'll see how it goes for him with this item build.
And Kunkka's going to be spotted out. They drop down a ward. And there's a vacuum that actually caught them both. Very nice telekinesis from Way Too Sexy. Oh, nice RP. No, never mind. Terrible RP. Not sure what the plan was there. I think he took some damage off of the Fade Bolt or something. And now the Black Hole catches a couple. Fuzzy's there, but they can't knock him out of it. Meching through it as best they can, but the damage is done. Sono going to be cleaned up. And the Darkseer wall certainly helping matters. Darkseer and Fuzzy just skewering through the entire trees. Or look at that. He went from here.
Deforestation, man.
Yeah, exactly. Mass friggin' deforestation. But they get the tower.
Get me out of here.
Get it anyway. And Dignitas gets themselves a kill. Very nice juggling of the abilities to keep nice use of the mech to make that not as bad as it was, or as bad as it could have been, to put it more accurate. 12 to 11, 22 minutes in. The goal graph, it's taken a nosedive. There was a period of time where Meenix led, and that period has long since left us. Currently 7,500 gold the advantage for Dignitas, and 5,000 experience moving in their direction.
Yeah, I think Dignitas is pretty comfortable. We'll see what Meenix can make happen here. I think they need to try to pick off a couple of the supports who aren't going to be as hardy. I mean, Way2 still really doesn't have much. With all the towers they've taken down, he's been able to scrape together some arcane boots, but I mean, they've got a couple good targets for a couple smoke ganks or things like that. They still have a lot of damage burst that they're able to utilize to try to pick off solo heroes, but the coordination from Dignitas, again, has just been extremely good. They've been TPing in, supporting, rotating, making sure that Aoi doesn't die needlessly, and that's pretty much just enabled him to accelerate his farm so fast. The Blink Daggers, or the BKB rather, is all set for him sitting in the stash.
Kunkka certainly had a good game. 8-1 for him, 5-2 for Aoi, as he's made up a decent amount of ground. Looking down through the list, really only the Weaver is the one struggling. He's sitting at 1-3, really hasn't contributed a lot to these fights. And going with a defensive build like the Lincolns, this is the danger you run. And we're going to see an X marks the spot there as Kunkka just ventured out. X marks himself. But could be a very important fight. Fogged did a lot of damage there. Fogged is doing what Sneaking tends to do sometimes, by the way. And skipping the Blink Dagger instead, getting a Yasha. Tread's Yasha, though, is a little weird. Usually if you're going to go this kind of a build, you'll end up getting phase boots, but Tread sometimes picked up just for Tread switching, which mitigates some of her mana issues in lane early on. And Dignitas again, with Fogged on the TA as opposed to Sneaking, experimenting at least a little bit. Tier 2 tower in bottom, the last outer tier tower standing, and that's not going to be true for much longer as it does end up dropping. And Dignitas may engage. Here we go. They're moving out. Sneaking leading the way. There's a side trap, and they're going to catch poor Sono again. Disrupts himself. Don't know that it's going to matter. Midnight Pulse is actually down. And he does manage to get away. There's the telekinesis. Now, nice RP. Caught 3. Skewer follows it up. They manage to bring 1 down. BKB up on hour. Here comes the ship. Ship hit a couple. Universe is still there, though, and the damage output just way too much for them to deal with. And again, that Weaver just unable to really contribute a lot. He does barely make it to the high ground and survive. And her next marks the spot that's going to bring Sneaking right back to where he was. Meenix withdrawing. And Tiao is the hero I was trying to name by name. Nonetheless, they keep it together. They did lose their tower, and Dignitas going to be forced off of things momentarily. Roche going to be back up here in just about 3 minutes.
That was a really nice engagement for Fuzzy. I mean, really that was the best he could ask for. He got AUI pre-BKB, and he got the Rubik, so he was pretty safe. But even after that, you saw AUI just turn on BKB and turn around and turn on that ultimate, and they just took so much damage so quickly. They were forced to back off. But Dignitas got what they wanted done. They took down the Tier 2 tower, and they're just continuing to compound this advantage, which they've started to accumulate into a pretty serious one, as they're over 10,000 gold in the lead.
10,000 gold, 5,000 experience. And yeah, this is, it's a tough situation. That what Meenix has going for them is the fact that Weaver will get gigantic if given adequate enough farm. Him and Kunkka will outcarry the Luna and the TA, given the fact that TA just has not had a great game. In the late game, those 2 carries will outcarry a TA. But, or a TA and a Luna, I should say. But, and they are very hard to crack. However, the items are just going to be too much to overcome before long, and especially for Owie, with his BKB already up. BKB on the Enigma is a big deal as well. If he can just waddle in or float or scoot himself on into a fight with no fear of being interrupted out of the black hole. I mean, that's really his limiting factor right now, opting to skip the Blink Dagger. And the BKB already done on him. So the next fight is going to be a beast of a bit different color, I do believe.
And there's not really any initiation items on any of the Dignitas heroes, because right now they're sort of banking on the fact that the Magnus is going to blink on them and try to RP and skewer them back, and then they're just going to follow them in and turn on all of these BKBs and use the abilities that counter-engage so well, like Black Hole, and pretty much that's what happened in the last fight. And we'll see if they can continue that strategy. It seems to be working out pretty well for them, and with this gold lead, I think it should work. The items are extremely advantageous for Dignitas right now.
And speaking of items, I mean, when you look at the way Dignitas is building, they already got their pipe up, which is an excellent item. 100% necessary, especially against this team, if they want to try to crack the tier 3s, which are all that remain now for Meenix. But they also have the Darkseer getting himself a scepter, which is very much a wear you down, take your tier 3s kind of an item. The Scythe of Ice would have been excellent as well, just to lock down the Kunkka. But opting to get the scepter just means they're going to be able to fight so often with his ulti. They're going to be able to push and push and push over and over again. And it's so hard for an enemy team. If a wall's placed well, I mean, the vacuum into the wall is always important. But just having a well-placed wall at your disposal that often is enough to make it so hard for a team to reliably defend themselves. And the Roche pit going to be the center of focus, as Roche is going to respawn now. TA finds a well-timed double damage rune and going to move right on into the pit. Meenix is in position. Now, this is a crazy important fight for them. If they could steal this Aegis, they'll have a chance to take a set of racks. Or no, they won't, actually. I thought there was at least one naked lane. Instead, Dignitas only missing 1 tower. My bad.
Yeah, it's definitely still a very important fight, though. If they're able to pick off Gary or pick off anyone, really, then I think they'll be in an okay position. But Dignitas realizes that everyone on the map is missing. They just back up. I mean, look how defensive the wards are here for Meenix. This is how you know that they're feeling pressure.
Oh, this is unfortunate. Here we go. So no, gonna be picked off. Magnus Didn't see what he got. Managed to get in power, actually. Not a bad one to steal. Doing the old CLG wraparound, as Milk would call it. Smoking out of the dire side around to the Radiant jungle. And able to pick off Sono. So 13-13, and now this should be an uncontested Roshan. Yeah, not very much they can possibly do there. Weaver did finally complete his Lincoln Sphere. And at 29 minutes, I mean, it's a great item to have, but certainly would have benefited from that much, much sooner.
Yeah, that's the type of item I think they were hoping to get a lot earlier just by putting the Weaver in the solo lane, but they really haven't been able to, just how much pressure has been coming out. And with the meld armor reduction, they're able to take down that Roshan extremely quickly.
Yep. Meenix smoked up, trying to make something happen. They will have a chance here. And Dignitas mighty grouped up. Let's go, Mag. Let's see it. It's on you, and he got 2. A little bit better place, could have got more. Now the black hole's going to go off. Only going to catch a couple, but with the BKB up, it's going to be a full charge. And did Rubik steal that? Yeah, he did, I think. I think I heard another one go off. The fight kind of got spread out. And Weaver being pursued out. He will be cleaned up by Fog. And I can't see. Did you see that Rubik get it? I could have swore I heard another RP.
I didn't see it. I also heard it, though. I think he might have gotten it.
But anyway, Kuka, trying to be cute, runs out with himself having used X marks the spot. 2 are down. The lift going to be used, but I believe the conclusion of this game will be reaching us sometime soon. And
yeah. And basically, Meenix is putting all of their eggs into the I hope this fight ends during the RP basket. Because if it doesn't, there's just no way they can deal with all the huge item advantage. I mean, as soon as the RP was over, immediately the BKBs got popped. Snaking now with that pipe is helping them even more for the heroes that aren't wealthy enough to be able to support that BKB. So they're just able to take any sort of prolonged fight extremely easily as we see them just marching down this barracks.
Sneaking, taking a lot of damage. Down goes the melee racks, though, and here comes Fuzzy ready to re-engage. The Demonic Purge manages to get the kill there. Not the Demonic Purge, excuse me. But the damage from the Shadow Demon. Waits here. Next on the list, so a couple of return kills going the way of Meenix. They're not willing to give up the Ghost quite yet. Now he will be pulling back. He actually went Helm of the Dominator, which doesn't really surprise me all that much. His damage is decent-ish. He doesn't have Empower unless Rubik steals it, but still hitting for 200. Just the survivability is really what's going to be making the difference. And the armor reduction from Meld going to make his job much, much easier. China is decent in his damage with Empower as well. He's up near that 200 mark, but the Aegis, I'm pretty sure, yeah, didn't get spent. It happens to be unfogged at the moment.
Yeah, and AUI now has picked up the Eagle Song. He's going to be heading towards the Butterfly, and that's going to make him pretty much invincible. I don't really know how they're going to bring down AUI if he's able to pick up a Butterfly as well.
TA grabs herself a BKB, and Kunkka, he's hitting hard. He finished his Daedalus. He has his Shadow Blade up, obviously. Decent amount of bonus damage if he can position himself correctly. But just don't feel like he has enough help coming out from that Weaver. I mean, with Empower, again, he's in okay shape, but the Weaver just has not really felt like much of a factor the whole game.
Yeah, it's kind of sad for this Kunkka. I mean, he's had a great game.
Yes.
Had a really good tri lane. He's 9-1. But
going to be skewered back in mid and cleaned up immediately. And yeah, he just flat out blew him up. I'm going to guess he critted there because he took one swing and all of a sudden there was no more Rubik. He was just lying in pieces across middle lane. But, I love what they're doing. Not giving up the Ghost, trying to take the fight to Dignitas. They still feel like they're in an okay shape. But the problem is, I mean, they have to run as 5. And like you said, I think you said it quite eloquently. The fight needs to end with the RP. If it doesn't, it's going to end with the Black Hole.
Yeah. Not their Black Hole either, so exactly. It's going to be rough for them. We'll see if they're able to make it happen. But I think the Lincoln Sphere first item, if that had come like 15 minutes ago, at a really good rate, then maybe they would have had a chance with the Weaver, able to bring down some heroes during that, but it's going to be tough.
And that's the problem with going with that. And he gets the RP off, locks 2 down, might buy enough time for some of his teammates to get away, not going to save himself. And you see Demon do that once in a while too. Well, Sono actually hiding right by, he actually managed to get away there. That's pretty awesome. But you'll see that occasionally happen to EG. Demon loves to go for blink skewer attempts. You do that and put your Blink Dagger on cooldown, especially if when you skewer back, you're in range for an auto attack. Many, many teams will just say, okay, fine. and engage out immediately after. And that's the risk you run with that. They were banking on Dignitas not being grouped up as much as they were behind that tower so they could pull back if that didn't work out. Instead, Dignitas immediately responded back. They were funneled through, and now looking to close this game out. Middle melee Rax is missing. Tier 3 and bottom going to be the next target. Here comes Kunkka, he actually just spent that on Refraction, and Fogged is actually eating a lot of damage. Still has that Aegis though, so does not care. Couldn't have been, yeah, that was less than a
those bouts run out real close.
And here comes the boat. What did Way2 get? Way2 got boat. Way2 got the ship. So Ahab over there, in his hooded cloak, gonna be slinging one of the better spells he could have grabbed. Gonna see a disruption there. Fogged gonna be forced to pull back. Tier 3 continues to just be chipped away. Again, BKB, Black Hole available for Universe, Owie.
All the BKBs are up right now.
Yep. Doing pretty good damage. And see how much they want to press it here. Looks like they're going to take their time, wait on another creep wave. Blink Dagger sure would be a nice addition for Universe. Not going to have it for this fight, though. And Fog rushes back up against laying into that melee Rax. Kunkka doing cute stuff with that.
He keeps doing that, yeah. That's really funny.
And, he's trying to find a target to use Shadow Blade on is what he's trying to do.
Yep.
It's a nice little tactic, but cuter
I've
than
never
it
seen
is
anyone
effective.
do that. That's cute.
Yeah, cute's the word. It's cuter than it is effective.
Yeah, I'm not sure how good it is.
Here he goes again. Bonk. There he just runs back. Yep, there you go, buddy. Back to safety. Doesn't accomplish a lot, but hey, look busy, right? Look, Dignitas is here. Look busy.
Oh man.
There's the demonic purge on the Fog. They're gonna try to follow this up. He's gonna manta out of it. And Dignitas, I mean, they're being held at bay at the very least. They're gonna run out of mana at some point. I think that's what they're banking on. It's like they can't have enough. Well, never mind. They got Chakra Magic. So no, they're never gonna run out of mana ever.
Yeah, the butterfly's here for AUI. This might be their cue.
That was a lot of damage done right there. Sneaking just lost a quarter of his health bar with that crit. And here we go. Skewers through as Fog pops the BKB. Kappa face. And the Rax will end up dropping. Black, or excuse me, I don't know why I said Black. Universe was moving his way in looking for a black hole. Did not find it. But now 2 sets of Rax down, and Roche is about to respawn. They've been, they're about 3 minutes out. They've been sieging for so long now. 36 minutes in, the kill score still favoring Meenix, with the gold a bit out of control, coming up on 20,000 in favor of the North American squad.
Yeah, despite what that kill count says, it looks good for Dignitas right now. Way2 though, man, he's had a really rough game. He's all the way at the bottom of the net worth chart.
Yeah.
But still able to put some good plays together with Spellsteal. So overall, good play from Dignitas. AUI really recovering from that early disadvantage, and everyone picking up a BKB is just giving them a really nice way to combat this team.
Hype helps as well from sneaking. Rush that out.
Yep.
And Sono gonna be telekinesis, brought back to the high ground. There's the vacuum. Gets off the disruption. Not gonna matter a whole hell of a lot as he drops easy peasy. 50 seconds on his respawn. And Dignitas just strangling Meenix out. And they took down 1 melee Rax, abandoned bottom lane. Now it's top lane's turn. Would imagine, you know, and once again, you know, and look at that. It worked that time. It actually worked how he wanted it to. He ran out, got it off on a creep, did a ton of splash damage, and now Fogged eating a lot of damage, so he's going to use his BKB to get out of trouble. But yeah, I mean, if it works, it works. And that time
that's really funny.
He hit like 3 of the 5 members of Dignitas and did like a quarter of a health bar to him.
Oh, man. That's too good.
Look, 1 shot to creep wave, back to the tier 3. So Dignitas gonna pull back. Looks like they want another Aegis. Gonna have to wait 90 seconds for it though. 38 minutes in. Once again, want to thank each and every one of you for being a part of tonight's ADL broadcast. Make sure you hit follow here on twitch.tv/American Dota League. We'll be back 5 days a week: Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And today, I'm here with Greg. What is Hip Laird? And we'll certainly try to have you on more in the future, my friend. In the meantime, if you've enjoyed what he has to say, enjoy the cut of his jib, you want to find out more about him, where should they head?
www.whatiship.tv is a good place. That's a site managed by myself with a couple other people, and we put out some content. There will be a fairly lengthy article about each one of these teams a little bit later in the week coming out. You can find out more about everyone who's participating in this league, the story of the players, and hopefully we can churn out some cool stuff. And then you can also follow my Twitter at whatiship, twitter.com/whatishiptv.
There you go. Make sure you check out the write-up over at whatiship.tv. Follow him on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter as well. I'm at AC, at AYESEE. And on Twitch, it's twitch.tv/ACTV. Dignitas certainly drawing this one out. Wanting to take a Roshan just to be safe.
Safe as possible.
Exactly. Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. Patient Doto. China finally gets a damage item in his inventory. Picked up the Demon Edge, hitting quite decently, I should say. 245 damage when he is empowered. The Kunkka, still sitting on what he was sitting on a while ago, has 3,900 gold in the bank, though. And this is one of those games where it really wouldn't surprise me if he just said, screw it, getting a rapier. Why he keeps doing this? He's doing it against just creeps like this. No,
he doesn't know who's hiding back there, man. What if their whole team's back there?
I guess so.
Let's take Roshan instead.
I guess so.
Cheese is on Fogged on the Templar Assassin.
And Owie with the Aegis, so. Wouldn't imagine this would be the concluding push coming out of Dignitas. And I love this guy. Tiao, I'm now a fanboy, just because of that.
He's now my favorite player.
But
oh, that's adorable.
40 minutes in, and Dignitas going to head to the top. And Tiao will be TP'd back as Dignitas prepares to push in top. The net worth to make it the top 3. Nope, 3 of the top 4. Kunkka keeps bouncing in and out. But 3 of the top 4. Did he buy something? Is that how he went up so high again? Yeah, he did, Bill. He bought a Demon Edge. So he's building a decent amount of damage with Empower on, and before crit, and before Tidebringer, he is hitting for 350 odd damage. So who knows, man? Maybe one good crit. I've seen some crazy.
It could happen.
Yeah.
Could definitely happen.
Tell you what's going to happen here. Howie could be in some trouble.
This is, man, they are set up for a huge move on this, on AUI right here.
They're going to be spotted. Here we go. Disruptions there. There's going to be the RP. Caught a couple, but the black hole to immediately follow it up. He's under BKB. No way out of it. They're going to follow it up with a decent amount of damage. Dignitas, though, able to turn this around. China able to time-lapse out of a lot of that damage, though. That keeps the fight going at least. Keeper of the Light tracked down. In the meantime, China going to be cleaned up as well. And the Kunkka back at the base with the old Magnus. So a worthy effort, but unfortunately unable to get the job done. The counter initiation out of Universe is too much. And now, Tiao, sorry brother, X marks the spot, didn't get it done that time. Making an ultra kill going the way of Fog. They're going to glyph it just because. But yeah, should be the end approaching it.
Poor way to, man. Can't catch a break this game. I think he got brought down by just the crit. Like, took so much damage. He's picked up a Ghost Scepter to try to deal with it, but now Fog is moving in, and this game is it's wrapping up.
Dunzo. They are on Megas, and the GG comes out. And a much closer game than I think many would have anticipated. I have a feeling there were many folks who put bets on Dignitas in that game who perhaps were feeling uncomfortable. But nonetheless, one of the better games we've seen between a pro team and an amateur team. I'm really impressed with the way Meenix handled this. I think they played very well, all things considered. But,
yeah, they had some nice plays.
Hopefully. Come on, guys. Call GG, leave the game. Why are you going to do this to me? But once again, make sure you hit follow here on the ADL, folks. Tell your friends, too. American and South American Dota. Don't matter where you're from. East Coast, West Coast, Brazil, Peru. Doesn't matter. We're happy to have you. I am honored to have you. To go a step further and put it in more accurate words. And hope to have you back again in the future. And to everyone listening in game, thank you. On behalf of the entire ADL, for supporting this tournament that we believe is going to be a huge boon to the entire North and South American Dota scenes. 42 minutes, 55 seconds. 19-22. The final kill score. Dignitas sweated a little bit. There's a beat of sweat or two, I have no doubt. But in the end, able to close things out and take their second win of the night to conclude this broadcast of the ADL. Once again, my name is Aaron A.C. Chambers. I've been joined by Greg. What is hip? Laird, go ahead and drop those social media links one more time, my friend.
Again, you can find me at whatiship.tv and twitter.com/whatishiptv.
Final thoughts on your way out the door?
Good job, Dignitas, man. And I was really entertained by Meenix, and I'm looking forward to some really great teams really great games between some of these lesser-known teams in the ADL. Cannot wait to see more.
Thanks a ton, brother. Enjoy your evening. That was Greg. What is hip Lear? Filling in for, there's no filling in to it, really. I just kind of grab whoever's available. B-Diz was here earlier, was here yesterday. But much thanks to Greg for helping us out here today. And much thanks to each and every one of you for being a part of the broadcast and helping to support the brand new American Dota League. Once again, hit follow here. You can find the American Dota League on Twitter as well if you want to keep up that way. It's at American Dota. Very, very simple. You can find me on Twitter too. I'm at AC at AYESEE, and on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/ACTV. Once again, Dignitas. Cut a little close. Kept a little close to the bone here and there. And Meenix putting on a nice show. Nice show from them. Once again, want to thank the teams and reiterate what I've had to say a couple of times, which is I love that these teams are putting it all on the line to go up against the pro teams, knowing they're likely to lose, knowing that in some cases they're likely to lose very badly. I just think it's so awesome that they're willing to take that step and improve. It's such a good opportunity for them and a great opportunity for us to keep an eye on the upcoming talent in North and South America. Alrighty, folks. This broadcast of the ADL is donezo. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow, though, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Hope to see each and every one of you then. Enjoy your night.